joining one another.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Medleys were here, Turners were out there, and out 50 yards from Turners out that way, all duffer ground.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just the one area was opal, Bob?
Just the one area, yeah.
And how far back this way would it have come?
Oh, not far. There was the White Horse run along here.
Oh,
The Old Harbour Bridge up. Nothing in it. And just through the White Horse was all the lovely sandy red country and full of opal. Medleys and Turners. That's funny.
And didn't Medleys got brilliant opal in that White Horse too, didn't they?
Oh, some of the best light opal on the ridge, and a lot of semi-black.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I'm holding this close enough.
You're right, mate. You're right.
How deep, Bob? How deep with the ground?
50 feet.
50 feet.
50
That'll
feet.
be a first level.
First level, yeah. Only the one level. Only the one level. 50 feet. Very hard on top of 25 feet. Very hard.
And that seemed very shallow for on top of the hill, 50 feet here, Bob?
It did, Len, yes, it did. That was the general run of it here, though. The depth, 50 feet.
Now the quality,
big
Bob, we want to get into the quality of opal. Now, Papa Francis, as you knew him personally.
Yeah.
How did Papa Francis describe Turner's opal compared to, say, your father's and Jackie Main's opal?
Yeah, well, that was good opal.
Describe that the way Papa Francis described it.
Yeah, well, that was the conversation with Far and old Papa Francis.
Yeah.
Now, Jack, you bought and saw most of the opal got on the 3 mile, see? Yes, that's right, Cocky, he said. Now, who do you reckon had the best claim on the 3 mile? Far was expecting to say him and Jackie Main, see? Oh, without hesitation, Papa said, Turner. Oh, Turner. Turner never got any opal. No one never knew they got opal because they never showed any, see? He said, you're like a lot more, Cocky. A lot of them reckon they never got any. But he said, I bought it. Yeah? And then he told the story. He used to come here every day on the pony, ride a pony round, and he'd visit the camp in case they had anything, see? And this day he called, no, nothing today. No, and he had the pony tied up to a little tree somewhere. He just walking over to the pony, and one of them said, we got a bit of potch colour. You'd like to have a look at it? All right, yeah, I'll buy anything. He went over and out they come with a big enamel white wash dish full of potch colour, see? And Papa looked at it, he thought to himself, potch colour, pretty good for potch colour. He said, what do you got on this? £100, right? He had a bag he used to put over the back of the saddle with a slit cut in for pocket. Yeah. He went over and tipped the potch colour in the one side of the bag, and he's taken the bag back, and they said, we got a bit better here if you'd like to have a look at it. Papa thought a bit better. Wonder what this is. Potch colour was pretty good, see? And he got over, and out came another wash dish full. He said, all the time he's at White Cliffs and all the time he's on the ridge, he never saw anything like it. The best opal he ever saw in his life.
She must have been good,
And he said, Far said, well, we got good opal down here, me and Jackie Main. He said, you got good opal, but he said, shice at the Turners. So, how good was Turners?
Far and Jackie Main's, Bob, was good.
It was red on the black. Everyone will tell you that opal was noodled, and I remember it. I wasn't very old, but I remember it.
Now, the big stone, Bob, that Far and Jackie Main bottomed on.
Yeah, about 4 by 2, 4 inches by 2. No, I'm not telling you a lie.
I know, mate. I remember Dad saying that.
He broke the end of it,
You're only saying verbatim what he said.
And he had the chips, all the chips in his waistcoat pocket. He came home for dinner.
A good quality, Bob?
Only red on the black, like lovely, not real thick black potch, but more opal than black,
potch,
black, and lovely bluey black potch.
And how much did Papa give him for that?
80 quid.
80 quid.
Sold him as he was. 80 quid. He was
That's
cheap.
Incredible, isn't it?
He'd be, Pandora was nearly 700 carat. He'd be the biggest Pandora.
Biggest Pandora. Better quality than Pandora?
Oh, was he what? Oh,
Pandora's
chalk
grey,
and cheese.
wasn't it, Bob?
Grey, red on the grey.
Yeah, describe Pandora, Bob.
Red on the grey.
Red on the grey.
Yeah, bit of a seam, bit of fossil. That's all it was.
Oh,
it was only the size of it. Yeah, Jack McNeil. Yeah, 700 carat.
Can you describe the pattern on this one that your dad got?
Oh, the lovely square pattern, Glenn. You know, the lovely square pattern you get in opal.
Yeah.
Changing all the time like that.
A flagstone.
Yeah, red on the black and a bit of orange in it and a tinge of blue.
Yeah.
All that makes the gem.
The way Dad described it to me, Bob, was he seemed to think it was like painted candles looking on the side on, standing straight up on their end.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be too.
Yeah.
But face beautiful too.
Yeah.
How much a carrot, Bob, were they getting?
Oh,
dear.
carrot, Ted.
80 quid,
oh,
mate, was
well,
just
80
that.
quid for the lump.
What would he have weighed, Bob? 6-7 ounces?
Well, Pandora weighed nearly 700 carat. He might have been more.
More than that.
He'd be close up to that.
Yeah.
The size
Well,
of
you
it.
imagine what that size, say 6 ounces for, what, 80 quid?
Yeah,
That'd work out about, what, 50 cents a carat?
it'd be pretty light.
5 bob a carat.
Good price.
Be pretty light.
Eh? See, that's back
Yeah.
in what? That was Christmas time, 1909.
Yeah, 9 or
Yeah,
10, yeah.
Okay, Bob, well, we know that Turner's was a brilliant claim, and we know it was only about 50 feet deep. Right alongside of them was Melody's.
Medleys.
Medleys, I mean.
Yeah.
What can you remember about them? Anything at all?
Well, Medley's was it was a great noodling dump. We were only kids. We were really too small, you know. We didn't know what we were looking for. But there wasn't many noodlers. Even Turner's here, the good opal they got. One of them, when he stopped pulling the dirt, they'd come over and do a bit of noodling for a blind. So you make out they were getting nothing.
Didn't make
See?
at all.
All that.
Now, a bit
But
cunning, eh?
Yeah. But Medley's, I reckon, the opal must have been nearly as thick as the gravel on the surface here.
They got
The
that
opal
much.
they lost.
Really,
Yeah?
really.
The opal they lost in the dirt. Must have been thick.
Can you remember them blokes as persons, though, as people though, Bob? Can you distinguish their personalities? What, like quiet blokes or rowdy blokes? or-
Medley?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Medley and Jacobs.
Two quite old blokes,
Were
yeah. Medley and Alec Jacobs. Alec Jacobs had a stiff leg.
Yeah, I
The
remember that,
Jack Dominics knew him here years after. Old Alec Jacobs. They used to live there, you know, where old Albert Nelson lived on the 3 Mile. And they were two old blokes, fairly old, very quiet. But the opal, I reckon, must have been thick as the gravel on the surface here.
Bob,
The opal they lost.
Bob, the striking thing about it was two fantastic claims, one alongside the other. One was light opal and one was black opal.
That's right. Yeah, Medley's was some of the best light opal on the ridge, and semi-black. But Turner's must have been outstanding, whatever it was, according
Well,
to
that-
Papa Francis.
Yeah, I remember Dad saying the same thing.
And when a man like him says that, because he was a good judge and he's a bloke that wouldn't tell you a story, not a lie of any
Yeah,
kind
well,
like that.
Yeah.
He was
Can
a
you
good.
describe old Papa Francis for us, as you knew him,
Describe him.
as a man?
Very, very, very lively. Good buyer. One of the best buyers, best judge ever on the field.
Personality-wise, was he?
Yeah, very jolly.
Was he?
Oh yes,
Was he
very
a big
jolly.
man?
No, I medium.
Thin bloke, Bob, short.
Round about 9 stone.
Was he?
He wasn't very
Where
big.
did you think
Wasn't
that?
very big. No, he wasn't. But he was very popular. He was.
From what I
Papa.
can gather.
A good judge and a good buyer. He'd buy opal while anyone else was looking at it. He'd buy it and pay for it and gone.
And just the hand rubbing over
Mm.
too, Bob. No,
And-
no magnifying
No,
glasses to see the
no,
cracks in it.
no. And he liked it in the rough.
Did he?
Great gambler. They reckon he put, a sweat wheel. They play on different things. They have a cloth with numbers 1 to 6, and they have a wheel with a
Oh yeah.
whalebone on
Yeah.
it. You know, they spin it around and
Yeah.
it clicks like a chocolate wheel.
Yeah.
They reckon he put 1,500 quid on that at White Cliffs, one bet, on number 3.
Lost it.
And when the thing stopped, he got 2 3s and a 6. 2 3s and a 6. He collected 3,000,
What?
and he staked back. Yeah, that's the sort of better he was.
Not
Great
again.
gambler.
1,500 quid in those
1,500,
days.
one spin at White Cliffs. Yeah, that was Papa.
At
He'd
least
either do it or win it quick.
It was quick.
he played a part in the foundation of the history of Lightning Ridge.
Oh, a lot.
Oh yeah.
Big part, Len.
A very big,
Big part, yeah.
Yeah, Dad's
He's very popular.
Yeah.
You could always sell to him. You could always sell
He was
opal
a
to him.
great judge though, Bob.
Yeah, great judge, great judge, yeah. My
Did
word.
any of his offspring become as good as judges as him?
Oh no. No, he had 2 boys, Jack and Billy.
Jack wouldn't buy
Oh.
a feed.
Jack wouldn't, he'd have a job to sell him gold.
He would.
Yeah,
Yeah. He'd
but
take it. He
just opposite he
wouldn't
was.
give you the money for it.
Just the opposite.
And that's my personal experience with Jack
Mm.
Francis too.
Yeah.
But Papa just the opposite. What Dad told.
Oh
told me.
yeah, different altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Different
didn't.
personalities.
They didn't take after him in that respect. Not a bit.
Nor the boys, Bob. Like even today, Andrew and Billy. They're
No.
more so on the farm, though, weren't they?
Yeah, they're not like him though. He was very businesslike.
Yeah. Papa. Yeah.
Oh, very businesslike.
He must have made
And-
$1 to buy the farm.
Who?
No,
Papa.
that
No,
was-
he didn't buy a
that
farm.
wasn't
Didn't he?
Papa, mate.
Oh, no.
That was,
No, his grandsons.
Ah.
Was it?
that would have
Yeah.
been. That would have been Jack and Mary would have went
Yeah,
on that, Bob.
that's right. He very dapper in his dress.
Yeah.
Oh,
Describe, Bob, how when you were working the post office when you started your apprenticeship there. When you took
yeah, yeah. We used to get money wired from Sydney. You had to buy in Sydney.
Describe the telegram when you.
And I was telegraph messenger in the post office, and I'd take the telegram around to him. He'd be in his pyjamas, no boots on, snipping up Opal in the front room, see? I'd hand him the telegram, and he'd open it, wiring you £50, see? I'd have to walk back to the post office. Wouldn't be 5 minutes. He'd be back down there to collect the money. Stiff, big white front shirt, bow tie, hard hitter hat, and walking stick over the arm. You wouldn't think it was the same bloke. Fair dinkum. This is his style, see? And very much like Charlie Chaplin. Good actor.
Charlie Chaplin.
Good actor, he was. Oh, come in. Oh, he wouldn't. I thought,
Full of business.
you're not the same bloke I just give the telegram to. He was in the pyjamas and no boots on, see? But he could change quick.
Yeah.
He'd change. Oh, yeah. He could take part of anything.
Yeah.
Oh, funny he
Gifted
was.
man.
Different. He's funny.
Gifted.
Very funny he was. Very businesslike. Mm.
But as we get back to the Opal, though, Bob, a great judge and a great buyer, from what I can
Oh,
gather.
oh, one of the best.
Yeah.
One of the best.
Along with what, George Cowan too.
Yeah, George is another one.
What do you,
He,
tell us a little about George. I've heard a lot about this chap since I come to the field, but I never had the privilege of meeting him.
George Cowan.
Mm.
Yeah, he used to noodle here on medleys. He was a bit older than we were, or I was. He used to noodle there, and he had a good experience in Opal. See, when he was a kid,
What
lived
did you
here all
cutter
year.
too, Bob?
Opal cutter,
Yeah.
and he was a very good judge too, and a good cutter. George.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
His mother, or his wife, wasn't his mother had a shop down the
His
street?
mother had a cool drink shop there at the 3 Mile. Oh, Mrs. Cowan, yeah. Hop and ginger beer. Threepence a glass. Glass
It'd be
about that high.
expensive those days.
Yeah, threepence a glass. Mm. Not a pony either.
No.
No. Oh no, large. Yeah. But she had a cool drink shop there. Very nice old woman too. George, he was a good bloke. He was a good judge of Opal though.
Yeah, from what Dad was saying.
Oh,
Also the
my
same
word,
thing,
he
Bob.
was.
A great judge.
Yeah.
Him and Popper
Yeah,
would have
good.
been undoubtedly the two
They're the
great
two
judges,
best. Yeah. Good,
on the whole
good,
of the
good
field.
cutter. Yeah. He had a brother Jim. Well, Jim was a booze artist.
Was he?
He didn't worry about Opal at all. Just opposite. No, just opposite. Yeah.
And getting back to the 3 Mile field itself, Bob, the main field, the main claims on the field, besides Turner's, my grandfather, it's your father, Farr and Jackie Main, Medleys. Who were would have been the others?
Well, there's another one just here, Stowe's. That was
Stowe's,
another
that's
good
right.
one. And down the Western Fall here, just down there, that was shallower ground on the second level. Jimmy Thompson, my
That's right.
uncle.
That's right. Jimmy
That was
Thompson.
another good one. And then back this way, there was there was Farr and Jackie Mains, and on the 3 Mile hill here, there's a lot of names you can't
That's
think
the
of.
trouble, and they wouldn't have spoken much on those days to let you know.
There was a
the
lot like Turner's.
Yeah, that's the
they
trouble,
got a
Bob.
lot of Opal and you didn't know.
You didn't know about
You had the
it.
Ladybird just over the road.
Yeah,
there.
Ladybird and a few names you can recall, and but there's a lot of them like Turner's though. They got a lot of Opal, and they never showed it.
Yeah.
See, that is the point, because look at the dumps they put up,
Yeah.
big dumps.
Yeah, that's right.
Or there'd be,
Look on, Cram, have you got some questions?
you're going to do it here.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you
Right,
only
Bob.
go
We
there
might as well talk
Well,
about
where's
the 4 Mile now.
Miss Craigie?
Well, you started the
See.
4 Mile?
Yeah, well, where's Miss Craigie?
Yeah, well, she didn't she come in when the Grahams got a bit
Yeah,
of so-called Opal?
yeah, that's what I say.
When that in 32?
That's what I say.
38.
If we had someone here to put overcoat on them and an old slouch hat, because old Doug thought she was a man.
Yeah. But when they got this slab, what was it, Bob? A slab of sandstone or seam or something, wasn't it?
A bit of colour in the.
the band.
Before we go on the camera, on tape, you'd call it duck shit.
Yeah.
Duck shit green. It was really nothing.
Nothing at all.
In the
Yeah.
band, see?
Yeah.
And if you hadn't saw it, you'd be kicking yourself.
Yeah.
Something you missed.
Yeah.
Well, you missed nothing. I saw it. There was a mob there, and Doug McCracken, you know him.
That's right.
He went in, and you could only just get in like that and get a passage out, see? And as he's coming out, what's it like, Doug? You'll never see heffing better. It's got me. I've never seen anything like it. Now, this is what year, see? Duck shit green, that's all it was.
Nothing at all?
Nothing. No, in a bit of white band.
No money at all?
No, not even a knobby. Just a bit of colour like that. I can't make 'em out. Doug reckons she was tops.
But old Doug was a romancer at any time.
Oh, he was.
Poor old Doug.
And this Miss Craigie's there, and she's right in front of Doug as he's coming out, and he says, "Giddy now, man," he says, "never fucking look." He said, you'll never see anything like it, and he give her a push.
Push her in too.
He thought she was an old man.
Old
She had
man.
jungle green suit on and bloody slouched hat, see? He didn't know the difference. Doug, he's swearing all the time as he's coming out. Good, is it, Doug? Oh, is it what? It's a boomer. Oh, look.
A boomer. He's acting like it.
That'll tell you, if you hadn't saw it now, that's all the yarns you hear about Opal, you know. If you hadn't saw that, you'd wonder what it was. Well, it was nothing.
And the Grahams, they get much opal there at all, Bob?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Nothing. That's all they got. Nothing. That's what you
It's
hear.
incredible,
That's
isn't
the
it?
story.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And
Boom.
about the 4 mile, when would that have broken out, Bob?
The shallow 4
Yeah.
mile, about 1918.
18. Oh, that's when Tom Irwin and...
Tom and Snowy Brown.
The Snowy Brown broke.
About
they
1918.
never discovered that, though, did they? It was Jim Dennis and Long Ben.
No, they were the first. There was no oil sunk on the slope at all, and they bottomed one at the deep 4 mile. We were sinking one there too. They bottomed before us, and they said, "We'll wait a couple of days till you bottom, see how you get on, and we'll go down the slope here and sink a shallow hole."
Yeah.
And they went 14 feet, I think, and they bottomed on a lump of potch, pound weight.
Pound weight, I remember you saying
That was the start of it. And the opal was not far from there. Just below them was Ryo's claim,
Oh, yeah.
Ryo MacDonald.
Him, yeah.
That was one of the good claims. And he come there after they'd sunk holes all around. There was different teams. Everyone was there, I think, was there. Sinking holes, only about 9-10 feet,
Oh,
see?
yeah, shallow country.
Sink hole a day. And they left a bit of ground in the centre like that. And Ryo come on the scene when they were all about to leave, and he sunk hole in the middle and bottom right on it.
on the oval.
Right on it. It was 10 feet. He sank the first one, and just not far from it, the level come up like that. It come up to 6 foot and levelled off, and that was the real patch. It come up and levelled off.
But
You'd have got it at 6 foot.
6 foot.
Mm.
But prior to this, Bob, they were all leaving the field.
They were all
Yeah,
leaving.
unless we brought them all back again.
Brought them all back, and then they all went down towards the stock route fence.
Oh,
See?
yeah, yeah.
And Jack Dominic, he was out in the lead. He bottomed on a big mussel shell.
That's right, yeah.
Colour on the
Yeah.
shell, you know, on the outside. That started him again. Snowy Brown pegged right below him. That was the other patch,
Oh, yeah.
like Ryo's.
That's right.
It might have been there till this day.
Old Tom was it, wasn't he, with Snowy Brown? Old Tom
Yeah,
Irwin?
Tom Irwin, Snowy Brown. He went and pegged straight below Jack, and that was the other claim.
Another claim. They got some good opal.
Yeah,
I reckon.
oh yes, yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
was in a about 2-inch hashy
Right,
band
hashy
under the
band,
roof,
yeah.
all in that. They never gouged it. They used to rake it out on a bag and just noodle them, all clean skins.
I think it was the money
Funny.
from that Mum told me that old Tom bought
Mhm.
the shop of Charlie Nagai.
That's right.
Home there.
That could be right
In
too.
18,
Yeah. A lot of money if you had it today.
Oh, mate,
The
money.
Ryo's was the best opal.
Was he?
Oh, it had crockery
he?
tops. I saw some of it in the rough.
And what was Snowy Brown and Tom Irwin like? Bob?
It was a different class. It was these flat knobbies, but pretty good though, I believe.
Were they?
Mm-hmm. It was in this ashy band. Wasn't in the dirt. You didn't gouge them. They were all in like ashes.
Yeah.
Break them out like that on a bag and noodle them.
Was it green opal, Bob? Or
Oh,
black
good,
opal?
no.
Good opal?
Oh, no, good colour. Orange.
Orange.
Good,
Orange
good
red.
opal, I believe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But Ryo's was, it
They
had a
re-
crockery
yeah,
top.
they reckon it was
Different class.
Different class altogether.
Yeah.
They reckon it was a good opal, though.
2 good patches.
Yeah.
Either one to do me today.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What about the cutting of it, Bob? Who were the gun cutters those days, like?
Oh.
Did they just face the stone off, or did they finish it
Oh.
right? Or?
Oh, they polished them, Ted. Yeah, they polished them, but they didn't have the wheels and things they got today, though. You know, some of them.
No diamond saws, right?
Oh no, some of them done pretty rough jobs.
Some of the main cutters in the 3 mile, Bob, who were they, mate?
Ruined a lot of opal.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
More in the water.
No.
Yeah.
Who would some of them have been, though? Wouldn't old Lorenz been a gun
Oh,
cutter?
Lorenz, he had up to Newtown thereafter. He had a shop over there where Bert Smith's living now, and he used to cut for setting.
He must have been a
Lorenz,
Yeah.
he was the best cutter.
And didn't he
I
have
reckon.
at first at the early stage, though, Bob, didn't he have a cutting plant down at the top end of the 3 mile there near the old post office?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He had his name up there. That's the name Herb couldn't think of. Lorenz. He had big black letters on the galvanised sign.
Cut.
Lorenz. Yeah, he was a good cutter, Lorenz. He used to cut for setting.
I heard that
Yeah.
talk about him too.
Yes, he was. German.
Any other cutters on the field, Bob? Wasn't there a Macmillan?
Oh, Macmillan cut all Fars and Jackie Mains. Yeah.
Didn't he teach Dad to cut this Macmillan?
And then, no, he was only small then though.
Was he?
We used to sit on his window and watch him cut there for hours, Macmillan. And they used to get 1,800 stones cut at a time.
18 and 20.
1,800.
What?
Yeah, my word.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
who'd get that many cut, Bob?
Far and Jackie Main.
Would they?
That's the grandfather.
Yeah.
Grandfather.
And they all looked at him and said, oh, they're no good, Brucey. You'd sell them in the rough, see? You don't want to face any more. They're too grassy. All this stuff, see? And they sold Papa a heap in the rough. I remember we were living there where Waterford is.
Yeah, that's right.
Had a big bare shed there. You take your 2 hands, put your 2 hands over it to cover it like that. 330 quid. All pick stones.
320 or 30 stones too, wasn't it?
Oh, it would be.
I remember Dad telling me that.
What about a quid a stone?
Yeah,
Roughly,
yeah, yeah. 330 for the lot, the parcel.
And some
Yeah.
of them today we'd get 3,000 a
Oh,
carat for.
that's
Oh,
right. Yeah, all picked nobbies.
But that would have been only one
Well-
parcel though too, Bob, wouldn't it?
Only one
Yeah.
parcel, yeah. And this parcel, must have been one big one in it, extra big, see? And Far said to Papa after, he said, how do you get on with the big stone we sold you in that parcel? He says, I give it away for 500 like you and Jackie Main did to me. He got 500 for one.
One. And he turned around and gives
Fancy in them days, though.
320 for the parcel.
320 for the lot. Good profit.
Blister on the...
Hey? It must have been a boomer.
Oh,
He was a big one though.
Like
a
See,
spud,
something
though,
bigger than a lot of the others. Yeah.
outstanding stuff.
Yeah. And Papa said he give him away for 500, so I don't know.
He paid a quid for him.
Yeah, yeah.
And roughly, just for the record, Bob, Jimmy Thompson. None of the history books of Lightning Ridge have ever mentioned Jimmy Thompson.
Well,
Now he's open at the 3 mile. at
some
the
of
4
the,
mile.
some of the best you'd ever see
Ever see.
down here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now,
Sold it all in the rough to
He
Sherman.
kicked Sherman off, didn't he?
Mm.
Ernie Sherman.
Put him on the track.
Yeah.
Mm.
How can you describe Ernie Sherman?
Oh, Ernie, yeah, he was.
around the field.
Well, I remember him at the 3 mile. He all wore a red Jackie owl, colour of that, and old slippers or something like that, practically barefooted. Until he got onto this Opal, and Thompson's, they put him on the road.
On the track.
Started him. Yeah, he had nothing to lend.
Thompson's was on the Western Fall here.
Yeah, just down here, Len.
How
Yeah.
many claims down from Turner's? About
Oh,
4 or 5?
oh, it'd be more than that. I think it's just down the end of the workings. You can see here.
Yeah.
Just down there it is. It was a second level,
I
on about 25 feet.
Yeah.
There was poor stuff on the top level,
Yeah.
about 10 feet, or big flat knobby, you know, weak,
Yeah.
poor stuff. And the good stuff was on the second level, and I believe it was good.
That'd be 6 or 7 claims down, Bob, wouldn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah, the
There you
bottom of them workings there you can see.
And the reason he went down there is he couldn't find any room up here to peg, wasn't it? He was
That's
forced
right.
to go down there.
Right down.
Which is typical of the Opal game, I suppose.
That's right.
Bob, may I ask you, now there was only one level at Turner's at 50 feet. Did they push down to look for a second?
I don't think anyone did, Len, not that I remember. I don't think so. I don't think. I often wondered because just up here on that old road, they got Opal there 80, 90 feet.
That's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Down on the black mud.
Yeah,
Right on the, they were pulling the black mud like you
Yeah.
get out on the flat here.
yes.
There's the heel
Well,
like
I've been
sitting on
open
it.
in the mud here.
Yeah, well, they got 80, 90 feet there. Could be here,
Well, that's
Yeah.
true.
could be.
And to your knowledge, Bob, they haven't even tried it even till today.
I don't think so. I'm sure not. No.
Obviously,
There'd
it'd be rotten
been-
country now, you'd have to
there
take
was
it off.
quite a few in Turners here after later years. They were in it. Cyril Marnie, he was with some of them. Spider Brown
Well,
or
they
some of
called
them.
stow dirt out of Turner's, Bob, or
They
something?
did.
Yeah.
I don't think they got anything any good. Bobby Ward asked me to come down one day and show him where Turners was, but I don't think he done anything in it.
No.
I can remember Colin Smee here on Melody's claim. We were working the Ladybird, and he come over one day. It's strange that you should mention these enamel white dishes. And he'd pulled one of the shafts, and we were on top of the Ladybird, and he had it full of light opal knobbies that they'd got puddled out of their shaft dirt.
Yeah,
Remember that, Ted?
Yeah.
Colin Smee.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
I think Peter Len's got all his good stones along here.
Isn't he?
In the
Well-
Madeline, the collection, you know.
I've
Yeah,
heard a
well,
lot about that,
They were
yeah.
big dumps here.
Yeah.
A lot of dirt. Oh yeah.
Good opal, Bob, eh? Millions of dollars.
Oh,
Yeah.
today's price is
Oh,
millions, mate.
God.
Not a million.
I'd love
millions.
to.
Millions.
I'd like to.
Multi-millions.
Yeah, that's right, Lennis.
According to Papa Francis, I'd have liked to seen Turner's. Him saying it was like
Yeah.
that must have been. It must have
Yeah.
been
I
outstanding.
remember
I
Dad
think.
sitting in the kitchen saying the same thing, you know. If
Must have
only
been
they
good.
could have seen Turner's opal.
It must have been good when he calls the other
Well, look
red
at-
and the
look
black.
at- Look at your
colour.
father's, the Father and Jackie Main's opal, Bob. Now, that was good opal.
That was good opal.
And
Yeah.
Dad says the same as you, black
Yeah.
opal, but yet Turner's makes that like as the German word scheisser,
That's
which
right.
is shit.
That's right.
So where do you go from there?
Oh, I'd like to saw it.
It must have been absolutely magnificent.
It must have been, what I can hear of it, must have been solid black opal.
Yeah, all opal, Bob. No potch at all.
No
just
potch,
solid
nothing.
black
Solid
opal.
black opal.
Yeah,
Like that
Looked like
colour
gravel.
lens making. All
Yeah.
pure opal,
yeah,
I think.
yeah,
And gem colour.
yeah.
Fancy a wash dish, 200 quid.
Now, what would that be worth today? Eh? I suppose, what, 6 or 7 million?
Oh, you'd have to be
Yeah.
joking. I think you'd be talking if it was good stuff, 100 million.
Yeah.
Today's
You think so,
prices?
today's
Yeah.
price? Just
Yeah.
to wash dish, Len?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's good,
if
Len.
anyone else had told me, but Papa, you could believe him. He wouldn't make anything up like that. He was a buyer and a good judge, but it must have been right.
Yeah.
Well, look, let me put it this way. I brought at Lightning Ridge for many years, right? So I've got a reasonable idea of prices.
Mhm.
Now, at today's top prices, I can put in a matchbox
Yeah,
$500,000
Yeah,
Yeah,
in a
Half a million.
matchbox. Now, how many matchboxes
Yeah.
will you get in a dish?
a wash dish, that's right.
that's a good yardstick.
And the stuff that you're
Eh?
talking about is already cut and polished. This sort
And
of
not
stuff is
in the
rough.
same grade as what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Oh
That's
no,
right. Yeah, that's
no.
true.
The 100 million would be right.
Mm.
Conservative.
Well, yeah.
Well, the day is the 1st of March 1983. It was yesterday we was up on top of the hill of the 3 Mile talking about Turner's claim and all the other claims. Now we're down the bottom of the 3 Mile Eastern Fall now, and we've still got the boys together and they're going to continue with their talk. Well,
Ready?
you were telling us yesterday when we got cut off about Thompson, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Jimmy
after Thompson's left his fame, Far went into it and he got a knobby about big as a pigeon's egg, and he sold it in the rough to a buyer named Samuels for 50 quid. And I wouldn't mind having him today to rub down.
Good quality, Bob?
Well, he must have been 50 quid in them days, and about as big as a pigeon's egg. It'd be fair size too.
Oh,
In the rough, to get 50 quid in the rough those days, though, you had to be something pretty good.
What era would that have been, Bob? What,
Oh,
11?
about that, 11,
Hang on,
19,
that's
11
right.
or 12.
Hang
I'd
on.
reckon we were living on top of the hill. Yeah.
Was that after Jimmy Thompson left the
Oh
rig?
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
now I'm with
yeah.
you. Now I'm with you.
Oh yeah, I'd say about 1912.
Yeah, because Jimmy left in 10, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when the flood was on.
That's right.
Yeah,
Did you have a flood 1910 here, Bob?
yeah. Oh yeah, fiddle the cook in the lake.
Yeah. What
Mm.
else can you remember about it?
Hey?
What else can you remember about that flood?
Oh,
Tell him roughly by the time your old man left in the centre of the flood, nearly drowned you all
Yeah.
down on the road.
yes, after he got all local here, he always had a bug to travelling about the country, see? And he left a spring cart, one draft horse in it and another, a lighter horse out, what he called a outrigger on the side, see? And the 35 mile down here was roaring. And when he didn't tip the cart over because it was full of logs and all that sort of thing, you know, could have drowned the whole bloody family. Yeah. But a silly thing to do though. He could have waited till the flood went down if he wanted to go.
That's right.
No need to go them days like going across a place like that.
The money must have been burned the hole in his pocket.
Oh, but always had a bug for travelling though. Like, wouldn't settle down anywhere. It's a wonder he ever stopped here.
That's
Yeah.
It's amazing, yeah. Now,
See-
Sam, go on, Bob, sorry.
He was here 12 months with a family of 8 before he got anything any good till he got here. He bottomed on this opal here.
Yeah.
He only got, just like made a living, just scratching along. He was here 12 months. Now that'll tell you.
Yeah.
And things were thriving
That's
here
right,
then.
supreme.
You could nearly get opal anywhere by the way of them.
So it's very unpredictable.
And this is when he bottomed on the opal here.
Can you tell us a bit more about Thompson? Anything you know about him at all?
Jimmy Thompson, he was Mum's brother.
Was he?
Jimmy Thompson, yeah. He had a big family too.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he got a lot of, well, I don't say a lot of money. He got a lot of opal. That was a good claim down there, nice quality. You wouldn't want any better for quality. Well, he was like Far. After he got finished that, he packed up and went
Shots
travelling.
Yeah.
went down, way down to Hill End.
What would he have sold roughly in those days, Bob? $1,000 worth?
Oh, I don't know, Peter. Oh, we'd pull him up.
Would it?
Oh, Ernie Sherman bought it all in the rough. He used to buy it twice a day.
Yeah.
And all in the rough. He soon got out of his red Jackie out, arse out of his trousers, like he was. Sherman had nothing.
Yeah.
And he'd get that for a few quid every day. All in the rough, see. No, none of it faced. Oh no.
And Samuels, Bob, where did he come from?
Well, he was a visiting buyer, Samuels.
Was he?
Big buyer. Yeah.
What about old Brady? Was he around at the time?
Oh yeah, he was here pretty early. He used to live up where near the opposite the B&A.
That's right.
There where Walford's living now, is it? Albert
right.
Walford.
That's
He used to live there, and they were the Vice Regals in the town.
Were
In the
they?
Vice Regal Club, the Bradys.
Were they?
Oh yeah, toffs.
Bit biblical too, weren't they? Didn't they have
Uh,
that private little church on the end of there?
that's right.
Yeah, and that-
Snowy Brown built
Yeah.
that for 'em.
Did he?
Oh yes, there were some singers. Yeah. And Phil, he was a bad buyer, just the extreme to Papa Francis. Wouldn't buy green.
They reckon they.
Oh no,
Wouldn't
wouldn't
even
buy.
look at it, would he?
No, wouldn't have green on at all. And you'd think he would, but that'd be his bloody colour.
He's an Irishman.
Oh, Irishman.
Irishman,
that's right,
yeah, you think he'd have
Brady.
swamped the green, wouldn't
You'd
you?
reckon, yeah.
He wouldn't have the green one. He must have reckoned a Joan at him, I think.
And his
Oh,
idea
Phil?
of buying, Bob, tell the people his idea of buying for the check down the hole. Wasn't that
Oh
Brady?
yeah, that was over here in the Medleys. I see him there. We were noodling there. They send the opal up in the bucket, and how much you got on it? Oh, so and so. Whatever you asked him, he said, "I'll give you half." If you asked him 100, he'd give you half. If you asked him 500, he'd give you half. See, you only go on what you asked him. That was Phil's idea of buying, and he'd float the check down the old one, what he bought. But he was a poor buyer.
Was he?
Oh, oh yeah. Not like Papa.
Just the opposite, total
Oh,
contrast.
they'll feel and he looked at too. He looked the part too.
What did
Oh.
he actually look like? A big man, little man?
Oh no, like a bloody
Brown rat.
yeah, like something like that. You described
Oh,
it
only
pretty
on the
well.
photograph,
He
yeah.
walked with a bit of a stoop like that, and he wasn't very big either. It made him worse. Yeah, old Phil. Oh, he's only a little bloke. But poor buyer though. A couple of boys going to school, Harold and Tom Brady's went to school with us.
What happened to him here?
I don't know, Len, I never heard of them after that. They packed up and left here. I couldn't tell you exactly what year they left here, but they were here well in the early days, like when we were going to school.
Were they here in the 20s, Bob?
He might, I don't know.
Distant
No, I
memory.
think he'd be gone by then.
Would he?
I think he'd be gone in the 20s.
Well, old Papa, what happened to Papa? Did he die here?
He died here,
Very
yeah,
dear.
cancer.
Could you tell us a little bit about when it might have been?
Well, I don't know. I couldn't, not exactly, I don't think. I know Frasers were living there alongside of him there where Dickie Brown is now. They were right alongside of the back fence of Papa's. And I don't know what years it'd be.
Some reckon the mid to late 30s, Bob.
Yeah, but I'd say between the 30s and 40s.
40s,
Yeah, somewhere in between. That'd be pretty right.
Our old Papa.
But he went to the pack all at once. I know they had him on all sorts of things, herbs and one thing another, boiling stuff down. And he had the belly complaint.
Yeah.
He didn't last long. They're all buried down here, 3 of them. Billy got killed over in South Australia or something, running in the back of a truck.
That was his son, wasn't it, Jack's brother?
Billy, yeah. But,
Now, what
Jack,
about, what were you going to move down to now to,
we were pointing out, weren't we, Ted? Looking at it.
roughly where would it be though?
Oh,
Maybe from memory.
I tell you what, Peter, they
Back
might have.
here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going that way.
So I think I come down here one time and I was looking at it and I saw distinct. I thought, oh, that's the one, that's the much of the vertical, Bob. And
Yeah, well, I tell you what, they might have cut it all out.
that's what's happened, Bob.
Yeah.
But I'd say he'd run across here.
Yeah. See, he's been where the opal was.
That's right.
And when you cut all that ground out, he disappeared.
Well,
see?
so therefore, if he's been there, Bob,
Yeah.
this has been Far and Jackie Main's
Yeah.
and Callum and Scott's on this side.
Something like that.
Well, so to say you could cover it in a 40-foot square.
That's right,
Yeah.
40 feet, so far, I reckon. You could have pegged a lot.
I'd say that'd be up where, roughly where that peg would be.
Yeah,
I
well,
would say what was your past claim was what belongs to Barclays now, and they had an area which was about 40 foot square they called the money bin.
yeah.
And they reckon inside that the amount of stuff they got out of that was just unreal.
What?
Just around where we're standing
In this
area.
locality?
Yeah, just around here somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
that'd be far in Jackie Main.
Yeah.
To the top end, Bob, wouldn't it, of the vertical?
Yeah.
And Callum and Scott were down from there.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, they've cut the vertical out,
Yeah.
see? He's gone. He'd only be where the Opal was. He'd
That's
be the
right.
Causeway, see?
That's right.
Mud vertical.
So
Yeah.
where roughly would Far and Jackie Main have started the hole? This vicinity here?
Oh, yeah.
Be hard to say,
No,
wouldn't
it's only a guess.
It's only a wild guess, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this open cut now is about
Yeah.
5 claims long.
That's right. Well,
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty
Man,
big.
man.
Oh, big.
No man can ever
Oh.
positively identify a position
Oh,
now.
no.
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
That's
was that?
him.
Yeah.
That's him. They always reckon they were about where Opal was.
Well, how far had he been away from
Oh,
Far?
not far. You
Main?
could say up here the claims were.
Oh, yeah.
There. In here somewhere, you could say.
So old Ken McMillan was pretty right.
Yeah. Yes, I remember him talking about that. That'd be him. He'd be the
What position did he place in regards to the claim, though, Bob? The centre or the bottom end or the top end?
Well, I think he was.
Hard to say.
Yeah, I think he was downhill from the claims,
Was he?
slightly. Yeah. I'd say the claims
Well,
would be in here.
Must have been up there then, yeah.
In round here somewhere. Yeah.
But hang on. Well, from my memory, I thought when I come through here, the vertical was over there. When I through.
Yeah, but
Oh,
they've taken a lot of ground out, Pete.
Well, here we are, Bob. We're just about somewhere near where your dad sunk his first shaft, somewhere in this
Yeah.
vicinity here. It's a famous claim, so we'll leave it over to you, mate.
Yes, well, I remember that quite clearly the morning he started. He brought Artie and me up with him, and his mate sank this, pegged her out, and he sank her down about a foot. And Artie was that small, he was carrying him on his shoulder, Pa was. Just had him on his shoulder like that. And that was the first start of the claim. And when they got going down, some bloke said to him, "If I was you, Brucey, I'd go straight down to the second level." He said, "See that hole down there, about 50 feet down, see?" He said, "George Bailey sank down there onto the second level and he got a 12-pound stone or something like that, see?" So he said, "If I was you," because Far didn't know anything about second level then, or his mate,
Would he know nothing about
Eh?
it at all?
nothing. And he said, "I'd go straight down," which they did. And there you are, that was the result. They bottomed right on it.
That's when they bottomed on the big slab of the
Mhm.
4x2 slab.
What, 50 foot was it, Bob?
50 foot, Ted, yeah.
Yeah.
The first level was somewhere roughly around halfway,
Yeah.
20 odd feet. And they bottomed the hole on a Friday, touched the band on a Friday, and his mate said, "Well, you better come up." He said, "There's a thunderstorm coming up." He said, "We'll get home." Well, he said, "I think we've about bottomed." He said, "I felt a bit of grit here," and he rooted a bit of grit up and he put it in his mouth. He pulled him up, see? When he got up on top, he pulled this out of his mouth and had a bit of dull red in it. Oh. He said, that's all right, we're on the bottom, see? They never touch it till Monday morning. And they come to work Monday morning, and the hawk's nest had just broke out. A rush broke out there. The pines discovered it, see? And they're all going out to the hawk's nest, walking past this claim here, singing out, "Come on, Brucey, duffer her out,
No,
get out to the hawk's nest." This big rush out of the hawk's nest. "Righto," he said, "off on the swing, Jackie." He said, "and get down and get the bottom over." He said, "We'll get out to the hawk's nest." Right. He lowered Jackie down, and he had a water hole down about 50 yards. He went down and get a billy of water, see? And when he's coming back with a billy of water, about halfway back, he could hear Jackie cooing. He thought to himself, he stuck the pick in his head or his leg or something, see? He ran back, "Hello, what's wrong?" "Oh," Jack said, he could hardly talk. He said, "I've broken the best stone I've ever seen." And poor little bugger never ever saw any before, see? He was that excited. He tore the pocket out of his trousers, put him in the bucket to send him up. Yeah, he protecting him, he was. That was a 4B2, the big long bit, see? And they had to pull him up. He couldn't stop down any longer.
That's the one we were talking about yesterday, Bob. Was the one we were talking about yesterday on the camera.
Yeah.
I sold to
Yeah,
Papa
Papa
Francis.
bought him.
80 quid, yeah.
80 quid.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he bought nearly all of it in the rough. They used to get a lot of stones cut, 80 and 100 at a time.
But tell the people now, Bob, how they drove down and with their strides as they
Oh
went
yeah, Yeah, when they'd sunk down to driving depth, around about 3 foot, a bit over, where their trousers rubbed round the side of the holes, they pulled the stones out just like you'd pull mussels out of a riverbank. Mussels.
The dirt was that soft.
Yeah, lovely level, right under the band all over was.
Beautiful.
About 3 inches.
Yeah.
And they pulled them, because they'd lose a few, they'd rub a few of them out. They pulled them out like that all round the shaft, right round.
It must have been saturated.
Ought to stick.
Bottom right in the pocket by a big patch by the sound of it.
Yeah,
massive.
And this Callan, Scott's mate, Harry Callan, bloke that had the cancer on his face, when they bottomed, there were 2 days and 2 nights taking the bottom off with a penknife.
Yeah, man oh man.
That must have been just an absolute...
And all opal, far reckons, all the time they were on opal here for about 6 weeks. They had a 15-foot face, 15 feet across.
That's Far and Jackie Main.
Stephen Jackie Main.
Yeah.
And they were on opal for 6 weeks. And he never remembered getting a knobby without colour in it. Everything had colour.
Amazing.
Everything was a stone. And Scott's patch, or Callan's patch, was the same.
Same thing.
No potch.
And their boundary was on the top side of your dad's claim.
I think it's somewhere about it, Len, yeah, I'd say. We'd say...
their top boundary, it would be Far and Jackie Main's bottom boundary.
No, their boundaries come together, what I mean.
Yeah, well this mud...
join it, yeah.
This vertical, this mud vertical, I think he run about north and south. See?
Yeah.
Well, Far and Jackie Main was on one side of him. He nearly split the 2 patches of opal like their boundaries.
Ah, yeah.
He was pretty close to vertical,
yeah. What I can gather,
yeah, because...
He went up the centre of this open cut.
Yeah, and the opal was each side of him, see?
Yeah.
And one day, Tar's mate, he said, hey, good mind have a dig into this, see what this is, this black stuff, see? Oh, Far said, don't bother there, he said, you go to Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
If it went 3 foot, they'd have got patch on the other side.
That have got Callum and Scott.
Yeah, all that, yeah.
But see, Scott now, see, as you've always said over the years, Bob, and Dad also, the Scott, as your terminology, was pitchforked into Callum's patch.
Yeah.
No one had worked
no
with
one had worked with Callum.
What's the story, Bob? How it happened?
He had a cancer on his face, side of his face, and he always had a black beard. I remember this Callum, Harry Callum. Always had a black beard, covered up, see?
Yeah.
And for that reason, no one had worked with him. Anyway, Scott must have been pinched. He was caretaker of the hall. They had the 3 Mile at the time. Anyway, he went in with him. Luck would have it. He went in with him. The hole was sunk down to all 2, 3 or 4 holes, whatever was on the claim. They were all down to the first level, see? And all they had to do was sink the other 20-odd feet.
Yeah.
Well, Scott went in and they...
Bottom right on it.
Yeah. And I remember I was going to school then, school at the 3 Mile there, down near Waterford. And he presented all the school kids with 2 books each. Scott.
Oh, Scott, did he?
Yeah, oh yeah. And the teacher wrote on them, well, I know mine was good conduct on one and general efficiency on the other.
Yeah.
He ladled them out to all the kids, 2 books each.
Go on.
Yeah, story books, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, I forget now, but I had them for years. I don't know what become of them, like everything else.
Yeah.
Oh,
Boy, gee, they must have got some opal though,
them
Bob.
2 patches of opal, I don't know. I think they'd run into millions, today's prices.
And as you've always said, Bob and Dad, you could have pegged that in 40 foot square.
40 foot square.
That's how compact.
I've often heard him say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was the 2 patches were just divided by this 3 foot mud vertical.
Mud vertical.
Yeah, well, he must have been the cause of it. Whatever it was, he laid the opal each side of him.
Well, see,
And the opal was right up along, run right up with him on the side like that.
Followed right along.
Right along each side of the mud vertical. He was about 3 foot through, you reckons?
And I wonder
Funny.
how deep he went down the mud vertical, right down?
Oh, I don't know, Ted. I know he ran right to the surface.
Yeah.
He come right up to the top, right up. The verticals do that.
Yeah.
They do,
Right
right
to
to the surface they do. I don't know what. I think there must be something to do with opal.
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe that's where the silica was fed in.
Yeah, I think
my
there's something to
personal
do with it. I think they were. Because look at that one, this one here.
Yeah, well, he was massive, wasn't he?
He was.
But
He
now-
was. Now, put it this way now, what things could happen. You could have sunk a hole on the...
right on the vertical.
Right on that vertical, sank him long ways like that, see? You'd have a full floor of bloody black mud.
Well,
You'd sink down for 2 or 3 foot, you wouldn't go far. There's no opal,
Yeah,
no
within a
opal
mile.
within kingdom come of this, see?
That's true, yeah.
And all you'd have to do is like that, and you'd be touching opal each
That's
side.
right, each side, yeah.
Now that'll tell you, if they'd have sunk, that opal had been sunk like on that vertical, they'd have jumped out of
Go
it,
straight out of
and
it.
everyone else would.
Could have
Yeah.
still been here today.
Could have been here to this day.
Yeah.
Now, over the 6-week period, Bob,
Yeah.
to say Farr and Jackie Main were on opal, they sold, what, 1,500 quid?
Yeah, roughly
Now, what would
1,500.
that be worth today?
Ooh.
Now, concrete
Ooh.
calculations with opal, 1,500 quid.
Yeah, well, look,
they were selling at the rate of 1,800 stones, as Bob just said. 1,800, not
No,
180.
80 to
getting
100.
faced.
Yeah,
80
Yeah.
to 100. You missed-
80 to 100.
Yeah, cut parcels.
Mm.
Yeah, well, this all that they sold in the rough, though. I mean, it had all faced. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you'd get one blob out of any of it, because it was all
solid
that type of opal,
yeah.
see, crockery tops and all that sort of stuff. And if all that stuff they got, without Scott's side or Callan's side.
Well, we're right in the bottom of the open cut, somewhere down on this bottom level, Bob, you was telling us a bit about. This is somewhere around this area now, we've moved down the open cut a bit, is the 50-foot level where your dad got the patch out of. He was telling us a bit just how good that level was.
When they come to work on the Monday morning, take the bottom off.
Yes, he was explaining how good the sandstone was.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be there, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Something above
well,
that.
he said 3 or 4 feet of red sandstone and all the rest were soapstone. All the way down to that.
Yeah.
And beautiful red sandstone, tightened up like a brick
Yeah,
on
well,
the
that
bottom.
looks like it in the camera.
That'd be
there
there
now.
back there, Bob,
I'd
wouldn't
say that's it.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty solid, you know.
Yeah,
And it's all weather beaten now.
Well, the air's got it, yeah.
Mm.
yes,
Yeah, that'll be it.
that'll be it. And the next
And-
claim down the hill, Bob, do you know anything about that? Where was Pines? It was around here somewhere.
Oh, look, I don't know exactly now, Ted. Yeah, at least Len.
Wasn't they at the top end of the gully somewhere, Bob? The
Somewhere about the top end of the gully, but the way they've got it now, it's all you could get no landmarks.
Yeah, well,
No.
that'd be somewhere
Yeah,
down the bottom end of this open cut, wouldn't it?
Somewhere around there,
This
yeah.
cut would have been 5 claims long, wouldn't it?
Oh, pretty big.
Yeah, so it'd be somewhere down where the camera's pointing now. Pines maybe where them datum posts are in that area.
Exactly.
I've seen some beautiful opal from there. Skeets
Fine.
got, yeah, about 20 years ago. Massive work done here in this open cut, of course.
Mm.
Huge, mate, that's for sure.
Huge.
Huge.
One night, no one knew him by any other name, but Roland was their name. Lindsay and I don't know what the other bloke, doesn't matter anyway.
No.
Anyway, one night we were living just between Boodles and Hawkins' store on the flat this time, and Mum used to get a lot of headaches. And one night she had a headache, she had to go to bed, and she always had a drop of brandy, put on brown paper and put on a fire and all that, you know, and take a sip. And she had no brandy, and Far said, I'll get Sparks to go right up to the pub and get a bottle of brandy, see? He thought that was his name. Anyway, he got this Sparks, he went up and got the brandy, come back, he's only away about 20 minutes, and Far said, thanks very much, Mr. Sparks. He said, that's very nice of you, very good. And Far thought that was his proper name. See, it's only a bloody nickname of the motorbikes.
What a rat.
Sparks, and that stuck to him. And they got, when they had the claim up here, it always went by Sparks. Mhm. Roland was their name.
Well,
Yeah,
they
their
were
proper
shearers,
name.
Bob, weren't they?
Eh?
Weren't they shearers?
No, I don't think so, Peter.
Oh,
No,
so
I don't know who they were. They had a motorbike each,
Yeah.
and they were one cylinder. You had to run them, and when they fired, jump on them.
Jump
See,
on 'em.
all that. The real old timers.
Yeah,
But that name stuck to them.
yeah.
And then they had another claim over near where Jack Mack got the opal.
That's
in the
what I
van.
thought, yeah.
They had another claim there, Sparks.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah. That was that bit.
But the Pines brothers, what? We talked to them, didn't we? The Pines brothers.
I don't know much about. I've only heard the name. I don't know
thought
much
were
about
down
what
further,
they had
the
here.
top end of the gully down there.
They were somewhere about that in that locality. They were.
And the Benchmans, Bob. Where was the Benchmans?
Benjamin, he was back further, going down towards Waterford, on the top of the hill
So,
there.
on the eastern
Yeah,
side of where
hill
we're
of Benjamin.
facing now.
He had enormous big dumps.
Did he?
All big dumps. Higher than any of them, I think.
Oh, yeah.
The Benjamin.
And the
He
Denton?
lived there, see?
I see.
He liked the Turners. They lived right on the claim.
Right on the claim.
Oh yeah, they had a camp right on the
That
claim.
was a sign they were getting opal to keep the ratters out.
That's right. Yeah, 2 brothers they were. Come from around Cobar.
I tell you what, Bob, I worked in that benchman 20 years ago that had fallen over the years. It had been wet. Steel band was broken up into little lumps about 6 inches square, but the stowed dirt that had been squashed by the fall and the wet
Yeah.
was the richest dirt I've ever picked in my life with a pick.
Yeah.
It was filthy rich.
Yeah.
So what they missed.
Go on.
Oh,
The stowed dirt.
Yeah. We were averaging, back in those days, we were averaging £2 a 6-gallon bucket of every dirt we got out of there. And that was a lot of money then.
6 quid.
Mm.
So that benchman's claim, there must have been a good patch there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, he used to live on the job there. At a camp there, middle of the benchman. Yeah.
And the dead man's, Bob, where did that...
A dead man. Oh, I think that was only that
Because-
come about by a bloke. He just died down the hole.
Heart attack.
I think that's what. Yeah.
Getting back to the benchman's, Bob, he got the name because of why? Why?
Oh, I don't know, Len. I don't know. I never ever heard anything about his name, what he was.
Just a
Might have been on a sawmill or something.
Sawmill, I'd
No, but
say.
I mean, he was called a benchman because he came off the sawmill. Is that the story?
That could be, Len.
Yes.
Could be.
Yeah.
I never heard any more details about
I
him.
heard a story when I came here, but he couldn't prove it working in the old mine because of the falls, that he benched the ground out and left most of the toe dirt and just put a little drive up the toe dirt and then benched in over top of the toe dirt.
Mm.
And but whether he did or not, I could never prove
No.
it. And it was too bad.
Yeah, be hard to say. Could be that. Yeah,
There
either.
was another good claim near that called the B&A claim, just on the other side.
B&A?
Yeah, did you know anything about that? We used to call it the B&A claim.
No, never heard of that.
I remember old Boodle telling me once when they got they wanted some money for the Bush Nurses Association here once, they come and pegged out a claim to miners and done a
Oh,
bit of
yeah,
work.
but mate, that's only in the late 50s. That's even in my time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know what...
I never ever heard in the early
Boodle
days.
is like old Bert Smith.
Hey, Boodle.
Old Boodle's like old
Oh,
Bert Smith.
you couldn't tell him.
Change bloody names every 5 minutes.
You couldn't tell Boodle anything.
No.
And what he'd tell you mostly lies.
Full of bullshit,
Yeah, bloody lies. Yeah,
Anyway, the claim joined the B&A claim that had opal in it, I know.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I remember the time they used to puddle up there, and mainly Walsh's too, in about 1958. You remember that, Bob?
Yeah, that's
They had
right.
a couple of Sundays,
Yeah.
and they'd try and get the money out of the opal, of course, to pay the bush nurses.
That's right too. Yeah, they started
Well,
that
the
here once.
important thing is they
They were.
actually did go out to miners and work and try and make a bit of money at some time.
Oh, that's for sure, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
think,
for sure.
well, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
See, that should be starting again today too, but they'll be hard to govern. It'll be hard. Now, Megas, Bob, were they in the 3 Mile Gully?
They were in the top of the gully
Top
in
of
the
the
seam opal, all
Oh,
seam.
yeah.
That is where the far was working with the bloke. They got you know, the big coloured handkerchiefs miners used to wear,
Yeah.
spots on them,
Rub
blue
on
and
the
red
neck,
and all
yeah.
that. He come home one day with the 4 corners tied up, and he had this full, the seam, big thick seam stuff. See? Yeah, I don't know who the bloke was he was working with, but he took the opal home to his tent. The bloke, Far never saw him from that day to this.
Shot through.
He went that night.
Did he? And probably
Yeah.
had nothing.
Yeah, went that night, took the opal. Mm.
Did you ever see the
Well-
opal itself, Bob?
Oh, I just imagine,
imagine.
the big
Yeah.
lumps of seam. I think it was pretty poor,
Yeah.
what they got. Quantity, but not quality. Nothing like up here.
No, different altogether.
Or seam stuff, thick like cakes of tobacco stuff.
Yeah.
But poor. Mostly seam is poor
The
opal.
majority of it, yeah.
Yeah, well, that was Magus. Because Boodle, he used to talk a lot about that. And Mager and Fishpool, another bloke or something. Oh, he'd tell you a lot of bloody lies, though, old Boodle.
Yeah,
I
it'd be
mean,
hard
used to
follow.
manufacture a lot of them.
Yeah.
He enjoyed it too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But there's no other claims I can think of that we could try and point out.
Hey Bob, can you remember when Larry Reynolds came here?
Well, not exactly, Len, no. No, I don't know when I first saw Larry.
Roughly
Oh,
around what era, Bob? No idea.
ooh,
Was he when you had the shop in the 30s?
yeah,
Was he?
oh, yeah.
Well, we go back beyond that then. We must be in the
Mhm.
20s.
Oh, I don't think he was here in the 20s.
Wasn't
I don't think so.
Where
I
you
don't
say-
think it might have been from the 30s on,
30s on.
between 30 and 40, I'd
Yep.
say.
Don't know where he
Somewhere-
come from, Bob.
No, I didn't know much about him at all.
Was he always a wheeling dealer?
Oh, yes, I think he was.
Tough man,
Yeah.
mate. Tough man in his young days.
Yeah,
Didn't he have a fight with a bloke in a shearing shed, Bob, that killed
killed him with a tin of jam. Threw a tin of jam at him. Yeah,
That
So I
was in
believe.
Longreach.
what is it?
so I was told.
Yeah, he used to knock about the country a lot, I believe. Oh yes, rough bird.
He'd be the toughest man that I've ever met on an opal field.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
mate. Especially in his young days, of course, he was a tough man.
Oh, and he looked it too.
That time in that picture theatre, Bob, Dad often told me about, was packed out and the two soldier blokes up behind him.
Oh yeah.
And he wouldn't stand for this bloody God Save the Queen garbage.
Oh
He was,
yeah.
Allah was the only one that sat down. And the two soldier blokes said, "Stand up or we'll jump on you and kill you, you bloody
Yeah.
rat bag."
Yeah,
La turned around and said, "Jump down and you'll jump to your death."
yeah.
Well, that was La.
He said I'd have bit their ears off first start. First thing I'd have done. Yes. Yeah. And he had the gear in his mouth to do it too. The gold teeth. Yeah. I don't know how long he's had them. A good while, I think.
Yeah.
But he's been in a lot of rough things, two up schools and all that, you know,
He was a seasoned
all that
bloke,
sort of
yeah.
stuff, and knocked about the shearing sheds.
He was seasoned. don't
Oh, yeah. It'd be interesting to read his background.
I never met a man who could smell opal out like he could.
Oh, wouldn't he?
He'd know when a fellow was on opal, he'd
Yeah,
come
that
and
is-
sit on
yeah.
top of your shaft,
Yeah,
and how he'd find out, I wouldn't have a clue.
yeah,
But he'd be sitting there knacking and talking if he thought that you were getting a stone.
yeah. He had some nice stones too.
Oh, yeah.
He used to put the good ones away, you know.
Accumulated,
Buy 'em.
that's for sure.
Yeah. And everyone he bought, he'd have a fault in him before he bought him. But soon as he bought him, there was no faults.
Perfect.
You dursn't argue with him.
No, for his
Oh,
job,
oh, look out.
down you go.
Yeah, but he was perfect when he got him.
Naturally, yeah.
My word. And he could put it on. Now he'd show him all different. Now look at him that way. Now look at him that way. And then he'd give him a lick. Now, would you want anything better than that? But before he bought the bastard, he was full of faults.
And if he knew that you were down on your luck, he'd say, "Now come on, you bastard, you want the money, but I'll give you this much.
That's right.
And now take it, you starve and look at you.
Oh, I
Your
know.
skin is a bloody wet rat."
Yes, frighten him into it. Yeah. Oh, stand over.
Oh, wasn't he?
Oh,
I'd never seen a man at his age and his size so agile for one leg and a walking stick,
no,
eh?
no, I don't know what happened to his legs. He went to the pack all at once, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Hmm. But when I first knew him, he was quite active.
Was he?
Oh, yeah.
Was he?
Oh, Christ,
You
yeah.
ever met a man with a boisterous voice like him?
No,
He'd make a good sergeant major.
wouldn't he make a beauty?
Oh, what he was.
Oh, he could act the part. And couldn't he dress anyone down? Oh, God.
Oh,
Phew.
that
Well.
time, bloody Lance Reynolds, that time coming home from school, in my time, Allah was sitting on the front of the pub there, and he wanted a loaf of bread or something, and Carew wouldn't get it for him. "Well," he said, "there's no bloody boomerangs for you this Christmas, you black bastard."
Or
Carew
spears.
just went straight through. Or spears, yeah. Oh, he was a acid tongue bloke,
Oh,
wasn't he?
oh, he could pick 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah. he could fit 'em up.
Yeah.
But
I
he met
don't-
his match here in the end.
Yeah.
He met his match here at the end.
Yeah, what happened there? You blokes know about that bit, didn't you?
Well, we've got to be careful what we
Right.
say on the tape, of course.
Yeah.
But he got out of it, got away with his life. There were people after
Yeah, I
him.
remember the time that he come
Mm.
screaming into the town. What was that, 63 it had, wasn't it?
Oh, a little later than
Roughly.
that.
Later.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
later, about 65.
Oh no, before that, Len.
No, it was before.
Yeah, my word.
Well, it'd have to be.
Late 62, early 63, mate, when he I tell you what, he was the fright I've ever seen old La. He screamed blue murder. Reckon blokes were going to kill him, and he come in, I tell you, it was there, Johnny Mather.
That's right, John Mason
And,
was there, yeah.
And what I could gather, La made a telephone call that night for a private plane and got him out of the state, and he never returned.
He walked around
That's
here for a
right,
fortnight before he left with a .22 rifle under his arm. That was the
Yeah,
last.
he-
That was
yeah.
the last I remember him poking around the opal field. Instead of a walking stick, he had a .22 rifle under his arm all the time.
Yeah, well, see, what did he do to do that? So he's lifted someone.
Yeah.
Well, he was involved in in some pretty short
Yeah.
dealing.
Oh, yes. That was his trade.
But then again, he's got a lot of mates too. That's for sure.
But he got out in a hurry. Like everything else, your sins catch up with you in the end, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They certainly do.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, we just had a little talk about Larry, but there was other dealers here in the last 20 odd years too. There was Madam Lenz. Bob, you know much about her when she first come here?
Not much, Len. No, not much.
She was a rather
Never.
tough lady when it come to buying and selling.
So I believe.
Vicious, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Can you remember roughly the year she came here, Bob?
No, I wouldn't. To be only a guess.
I'd say
No.
about 1950, late 58, 59, Bob, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I
remember
wouldn't
her. Well, I was still going to school when she was here.
be.
And fought right from the word go.
Yeah. I wouldn't have any clue on it.
Pegged all the bloody 3 Mile Hill in.
Yeah.
Took control over it.
Oh, I heard a lot about it.
After the hall blew down in 56, she pegged that in with the miners right and held it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
well, I reckon she's one of the causes of bringing the registrations to the ridge, to the field.
Could have been.
I'm not joking. Yeah. Well, everyone was so happy as that bloody
I
bitch
know.
come along, though.
Yeah. Changed
I
things a
say
bit.
that unequivocally too.
Yeah.
She was tough in buying. I
Oh,
remember the first parcel of opal I ever sold, I sold with Mick the Ratter. When I first come here, it'd be probably early 63. And we got a bit of light stuff just over on near McNamara's there, this side of McNamara's in the deep country. We took it down to her place one afternoon. I still remember it very plainly because a great storm was coming up. And I'd never seen a triplet before in my life, and I had these beautiful light stones. She got out these gorgeous triplets and put alongside them. She said, well, look, I can buy these triplets for this price. She said, now, look how beautiful they are. They're like black opal. I can't give you that sort of money for light opal, because she was a real professional, you know,
Yeah.
squeezing the miner.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was my first experience with her.
Mm.
But to talk to her in the street, she was quite a nice and decent woman to talk
Oh,
to.
yeah.
But when it come to business,
Oh, business, yeah.
Oh.
when
she-
it come to business, she she knew how
But
to.
she was like, I'd put her in the same class as Larry Reynolds, but Larry was a different person. He was a better person. But in regards to business, yeah, vicious. Vicious, mate, not just a good business person.
There was another opal dealer at the Ridge when I came here 20-odd years ago, Jimmy Collins, the Yank.
Oh, the Yank.
What can you remember about him, Bob? Anything at all?
Collins?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I
No,
don't.
see, Bob,
no.
that was out of his working life, though. Larry.
Yeah, I
That's the
don't
trouble.
remember anything about him.
Oh, yeah. Well, old Harold was buying here those days too.
Hodgie
Yeah.
wouldn't buy rice in China. I'd say, who would he be good as? Jack Francis? Old Hodge?
Mm.
Weak as bloody water, mate. He'd buy at his price, like a lot of them here.
There was another
Yeah.
gentleman coming here quite a lot buying those days who still comes here, and that was Les Taylor.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
agree
yeah.
with Taylor. Poor as ghost meat again.
Yeah, I haven't had any dealings
No.
with him.
I could never sell to him. I've got to be honest. The best buyer on this field today, and I'll maintain it right from the word go. Now, people won't agree with me, but I reckon the Canadians, and that's Jerry Lomax.
He's got a reputation for it, hasn't he?
Oh mate, red hot. He's good. Jerry is the ultimate. Fred's all right. Danny's not worth. No, yes, he's poor, in my personal opinion. But Jerry, he'll talk to you as a man. He won't degrade you, and he'll come as close as he possibly can to your price. And he's fair dinkum.
He's
My
a
word.
gentleman with it.
Plus, mate. Yeah, plus. My word. Jerry, straight down the line.
Jack Francis was a poor buyer. Different to his old man.
Oh yeah.
Jack.
Yeah. Poor. Bob, now put this on camera about
Oh,
the
yeah.
cheque
Yeah.
that of Tom and Dale, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell them that.
Oh, yes. What did the
Now, where'd they get the opal? Wasn't that a Nobby?
Nobby, I think, yeah. And how did it come about that he found out he gave too much?
Yeah,
wasn't it?
he reckoned he made a blue. He wrote the cheque out, I forget how much,
Mm.
and then he panicked.
Yeah.
And I think he either went into Walgett or rang the bank and
stop the cheque.
Now,
That's
the old
doing
bloke
that.
was that disgusted with that
Yeah.
so-called principle that I don't know why he'd never just cut the friendship off.
Yeah,
That was ridiculous.
I never ever heard of a buyer doing that.
No.
His,
you imagine-
his old man would turn in his grave
He
if
would,
he knew
yeah.
that. If Papa lost, if he give you £1,000
Yeah.
or dollars for a parcel of opal, and something happened and he lost a lot, he wouldn't say a word.
That's right. I catch you next
He
time,
wouldn't
Coffee.
say a
That's
word.
right. That's
He'd
true.
laugh about
Yeah.
it. Just opposite to Jack.
Yeah.
I remember I used to run around in the grocer's cart down the 3 Mile from out the store there, and the last stop was down here on the Western Fall, Peter McCall's hut. They all used to mob them there on that end. They'd all assemble there, see, waiting for the cart and that. And I remember one day talking about buyers, opal buyers, and it's always opal, a conversation of some sort. And Little Yorkie, you remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Got lost.
Yeah.
Little York. He lived just down from there, and Peter was ramping on, old Peter McCall, about the buyers, and he said, Francis, he said he's a good buyer, but he said he's too hungry though. He said he wants to make 100% on everything he buys. He said he's too greedy. And Little York's standing there like puffing at the pipe like this, see? And York, when Peter finished, Little York said, Yeah, he said you'd think he'd be satisfied if he doubled his money, wouldn't you? I thought that was a good one. Hey? And Peter said, oh, fair enough. He said, yes, that's right.
Order to York.
York, yeah. York reckoned he'd slip in here and put one in, see?
Put a body blow in.
I thought it was funny. Doubled his money.
Double his money.
Peter.
How'd you get on with the Germans here, Bob? Mick Bauer and the boys?
Oh, good.
They were good, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Respected blokes, mate.
Oh, yeah. Old Hotter.
Yeah.
Otter.
Yeah. Old Nobby Hotter.
Were they a bit like Mick Bauer to look at? Solid, stocky men?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were.
Mick
Yeah.
was a stocky sort of a
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I knew Mick before he died.
Great old gentleman, old Mick. My word, in my experience with him.
Yeah, they used to live there in Nobby all bloody years, them and the Trews.
Dick and
Two
Artie
brothers,
too.
Dick and Artie Trew, yeah. But they were good blokes though, the Germans. If they couldn't do you a good turn, they wouldn't do you a bad one.
No.
Good work is what I've seen.
All
of them.
good workers. Oh my word, they were.
Did they ever get any good patches of opal? Can you remember, or
Oh.
just poked along?
Well, I mean, a lot of them, they keep quiet, Glenn, you know, as they do. You know, a lot of them, they get opal and you don't know. Some of them, you wouldn't think